Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we're going to take a look at the Pilot Vanishing Point. This is a very interesting retractable fountain pen. Click that before you give you a little teaser. It's pretty cool. So just quick run over some specs here. Diameter of the body is going to be 13.3. Diameter of the grip is going to be 10 or 11.8. My bad. Length of the body is 140. Keep messing these up, huh? And the length of the nib is going to be 8 millimeters. And the length of the body is the same as the length overall because that goes down, the same amount the nib comes out. So, same overall length no matter what. And the weight of the entire pen is going to be 30 grams with no ink. That's 1.1 ounce for you knife guys out there. People who are thinking of EDCing this, whatever. And ink capacity depends on whether or not you use a cartridge or a converter. Completely up to you. This pen accepts both. Of course, they're only the Pilot cartridges and converters because these proprietary stuff, like all pen manufacturers, as far as I know, out of Japan, as far as fountain pens go. Okay, I'm going to get right into some size comparisons. First up, we have the TWSBI Diamond 580. It's the aluminum one, just did a review on that. The Lamy Safari, super common, super good starter fountain pen. And the Visconti Rembrandt, and I'll so you can kind of see this is a little bit, just a tiny bit longer than the rest of these pens here. Not by much, but just a little bit there. Okay, and just for a couple more specs, the nib is 18 karat gold. The body is lacquered metal. And that's about it. And this is medium nib for reference for anyone wondering while doing the writing sample. To jump right into it. Things I like about the pen, I almost said knife there. Things I like about the pen, the color is fantastic. It doesn't attract much attention, and when you're dealing with something that's expensive, I would rather it be a little unassuming than be something flashy with a gold trim or anything crazy, or someone might pick it up and grab it. The nib is fantastically smooth. It has just a hint of feedback. It's perfect. I love this nib. It's very springy and fairly, kind of medium wetness. It can be very wet depending on how much pressure you apply, which is something I don't like that much. We'll get to that in a minute. But if you're just writing normally with it, it's fantastic writer. It's great. The grip on it, a lot of people do not like this. This is very, very similar in many ways to the Lamy Safari grip, which as you can see here is kind of triangular. So this was my first fountain pen. This is my first gold nib fountain pen. So I was already used to kind of the grip style. Very similar grip here. If you hate the Safari, you're probably not going to like the Vanishing Point. Now I know there's someone out there that you can send this pen to. I don't remember his or her name, but they can actually remove the clip for you. It doesn't bother me. I like it a lot, and the clip itself is very, very nice, actually. Good ramp, but it stays fairly low. It's just a good clip. Not too springy, but not too stiff. I just pulled the pen out of my hand with a clip. After I said not too stiff. And it's retractable. That is a huge upside to me, because my writing throughout the day is every couple of minutes. I'll click it out, write a couple of notes, click it back. Instead of having to, unscrew it, write, screw it back in. Extremely convenient. That is the name of the game with this pen, is convenience. It's fantastic for that. So, the next thing that I'm going to tell you that I like about this pen, what I actually love about this pen, is the construction. The fit and finish is fantastic. I have not seen any flaws with anything on this pen, and that's probably one area that I have no complaints at all, really, is the outward appearance. I do have some gripes about how it comes undone, but we'll get to that in a bit. But just the fit and finish appearance of the pen, fantastic, perfect. And the only mark on this whole pen, try to get you to see here, is that it says Pilot Japan. That's it. No other branding, nothing. Very sleek, very subtle, very minimal looking pen. The last thing I'm going to comment on is how aerodynamic this pen is. If you're in a tactical situation and you find yourself having to tactically deploy your pen to tactically shoot it like a spear, this is going to be the pen for you. It's perfectly contoured for that. It's fantastic as far as aerodynamics go. So if that's a concern of yours, look no further. There you go. Okay, some things I'm kind of neutral about. Earlier I mentioned that it has good flow, but when you press down too hard, it gets very, very, very wet. And that is true. I'll show you that in the writing sample. It gets a little uncontrollable. But again, this is medium nib, and it is Japanese, so it should run more towards the fine, but as you'll see, it runs more towards a Western medium, which I find kind of interesting. It does have a fairly small nib, too. So this isn't a problem for me. Because of the angle I write at, it's fine. But if you really get up here and you're trying to use this nib, you're going to have an extremely difficult time. It may be impossible for you to write with it, to be honest. Just because it doesn't come out very far. And I'll do a quick nib comparison here. This is the Visconti Rembrandt. But you can see the difference. And this isn't... Let's see. Get a focus here. And this isn't a fantastically huge nib. This Rembrandt's number 5, I believe, size. So you can see the nib on your vanishing point's just not even close to the same size. So if you're used to something bigger, that might be another caveat for you. I would definitely try this pen out before you purchase it, because there's a lot of little things that you may hate about this pen, and even though you hear everyone ranting and raving about it, there's definitely some downsides. Another thing I'm kind of meh about is the weight of the pen. This doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. If you're using this pen for long writing sessions, it's a little heavy. 30 grams for a fountain pen is a little heavy. Unless you use your pen posted, you're kind of used to that. For just if you're writing a freaking novel with this thing, I feel sorry for you, because you're gonna have some issues unless you're used to really heavy stuff. And the last thing is going to be the length. This is a very long pen. I don't have a problem with that. I have somewhat decently sized hands, so when I'm writing with it, it doesn't bother me. But if you compare it to something like, just pull out your Twisby All here, you can see there's almost an extra inch on the back of the pen. It's a bit more lined up at the nib. And if you're used to something like this, and you go from that to a pen like this, it's going to stick out quite a bit more. So I just find myself adjusting that grip a little bit with it. Also because the clip on the pen is very comfortable for me, but you might not like it if you prefer shorter pens or you have smaller hands. There's a different version that you may find a little better called the Pilot Vanishing Point Decimo. A little bit more narrow. I believe they're a little bit shorter. Don't quote me on that. Alright, now to get into the dislike, the bad stuff that I'm not a big fan of on this pen. So most of it has to deal with either the closing mechanism of the pen or the stuff inside the pen. So we'll just go ahead and go to the opening, because I have to open this up anyway to show you guys. So let's see if you can hear this. I hope you could hear that on the camera. Very kind of grippy. It doesn't feel that good to close or open. So I don't do that a whole lot. And we'll go and disassemble the pen here, and you can see the nib comes out as kind of a unit. Just gonna let that roll around, decide where it wants to go. So here, if we can get this to focus, of course not. Here you can see it is an extremely small nib, very, very tiny. And you can see, focus again, the light may be a little hard, you can see kind of the medium sizing there. That's a very good nib. And I believe this is friction fit. I've only seen one person, who's Brian Goulet, remove this nib. I would not recommend it. There's no point. You shouldn't have to do that, etc. Warranty voiding, etc. Next thing I don't like a whole lot is the converter system. It's not a terrible converter, just being honest with you. However, it does hold very little ink. Like it's almost laughable. And it also has, let's see if I can kind of get these. You can kind of see there's something metallic slush around there. Those are 3 little agitator balls to keep keep the ink flowing. Lord. And they just take up extra space, and it's not fun. So if capacity is a big thing for you, maybe look elsewhere, because this will hold the Con 40 and Con 50 and pilot cartridges, but the Con 70 is out of the question. So that leads me to another point, the cleaning. Cleaning this pen is a massive pain in the ass because you have to pull all this out. And you'd think you could just kind of wash that, but no, you have to wash in here as well. Because of the little trap door, it can get all kinds of ink, especially from the clicking motion. It, of course, splashes ink around. It could be a little So, let's go and get to the writing sample and talk about the last couple things here. And for those of you curious, I will be using the Marmon Nemesign paper again because I like this paper. Okay, and I'll just do a few passes here to kind of show you. So the pen writes fairly, but if you put down a little pressure, I'm just going to do some no pressure lines here. You put down a little pressure and you're getting a lot more. And it's really from the springiness of the nib. This is a gold nib, you're going to get some line variation. For the love of God, do not push this nib though. Don't try to get flex. It's a tiny little baby nib and it's 18 karat gold, which is really soft, and you can spring it. Now this is one of the few pens that you can go to almost anywhere and get a different nib for. My problem is these nibs, the nib units themselves are $75 a piece. You really don't want to break that, be spending an extra $75. And also, while I'm at it, I will mention the cost. This sits around $150-ish. You can get it cheaper in the used market, but Also reverse writing, very, very thin lines. But it's just it's an overall really, really, really good pen. It flows very well. And I love using this pen on a daily basis. Also, for those of you curious about the ink for today, this is Pelikan Edelstein Aquamarine. Not a huge fan of this ink, gonna be honest with you. A little on the dry side. And not a huge color for me. I love turquoise. It's a little bit greener than I like typically. But that'll be it for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Keep an eye out for some more upcoming reviews. And thank you for tuning in again.